When we envision the might of ancient Rome, it's often the legions that come to mind. Yet, beneath the fame of its land forces, the Roman navy played an indispensable role in establishing and sustaining the Roman Empire. Less renowned than its land-based counterparts, the Roman navy was akin to the Georgian navy, which secured British dominance over global seas in the 18th century. It was instrumental in safeguarding Rome's supremacy in the Mediterranean and beyond. From vast oceans to winding rivers, fleets of warships, both large and small, patrolled these waters, vanquishing threats and ensuring the safety of trade routes and passengers. At the zenith of its power, the Roman navy employed tens of thousands of sailors, making it one of the largest naval forces in history, at least in terms of numbers. However, Rome's journey to becoming a maritime superpower was paved with the trials and tribulations of a brutal war against a formidable adversary. Like any great origin story, this tale is nothing short of fascinating. The tale of the Roman navy unfolds in the 3rd century BCE, during one of the most ferocious conflicts the Mediterranean had witnessed. Back then, Carthage stood as the dominant naval power in the western Mediterranean, with colonies in Spain, Sardinia, and Sicily. When Rome, a rising power from Italy, threatened Carthage's hold on Sicily, the First Punic War ignited. At the outset, Rome possessed an inferior navy and lacked experience in maritime warfare. Yet, a stroke of fortune was on the horizon. Historian Polybius recounts how, in 260 BCE, Romans, inspired by a shipwrecked enemy's vessel, embarked on a rapid shipbuilding program. In just 60 days, Rome birthed its first significant navy, comprised of 100 quinquiremes and 20 triremes. However, Carthage's superior seamanship and numbers proved formidable, leading to Rome's initial naval defeat at the Battle of the Lipari Islands. The Romans, though resourceful, faced a daunting task. They had to rebuild their fleet while training inexperienced crews. Contrary to popular belief, galley crews were not slaves but skilled freemen. Rome had to turn to its army conscripts, teaching them rudimentary rowing and ship maneuvers on makeshift wooden vessels on land. But these hastily assembled and trained crews were no match for their seasoned Carthaginian counterparts. Roman warships remained vulnerable to enemy tactics, which involved maneuvering past Roman ships to break their oars and then ramming and sinking them. To level the playing field, Roman engineers invented the corvus, a brilliant device featuring a wooden boarding ramp with a long metal spike. After ramming an enemy's ship, the corvus would lock the two vessels together, transforming naval combat into a land battle, a setting in which Rome excelled. These innovative tactics bore fruit at the Battle of Mylae in 260 BCE, when Romans, catching Carthaginians by surprise, boarded and defeated enemy ships. In 256 BCE, the Romans achieved a major victory at the Battle of Cape Ecnomus, with 300 Roman ships besting a 350-strong Carthaginian fleet, capturing 64 enemy warships and sinking 30. Despite these naval triumphs, the First Punic War exacted a heavy toll. Rome lost around 600 warships, over 1,000 transports, and more than 400,000 men. Ironically, most of these casualties resulted from the Roman practice of sailing in rough weather. The corvus, situated at the bow, made ships unstable in turbulent seas. In a tragic incident, a heavy storm in the following year devastated a Roman invasion fleet, sinking 384 ships. This marked the end of the corvus, replaced by a smaller and simpler gangplank. Yet despite the high losses, Rome pressed on, replacing lost ships and training fresh crews. Finally, in 241 BCE, at the Battle of Agates, the Roman fleet delivered a decisive blow to Carthage, forcing them to seek peace, thus concluding the First Punic War. This victory was so resounding that when Hannibal invaded Italy later on, he had to do it by land. The remnants of the Carthaginian fleet dared not challenge the Roman navy's supremacy. With mastery over the western Mediterranean secured, Rome turned its gaze to the east. In 192 BCE, when war erupted with the Seleucid Empire, the Roman navy took a supporting role as Lucius Scipio marched his army overland. The Seleucids, despite their once mighty Hellenistic empire, still possessed a formidable fleet, making the seaborne transportation of Roman troops a risky endeavor. However, in 190 BCE, Roman warships triumphed over the Seleucid navy at the Battle of Menace. A few weeks later, the victory at Magnesia sealed the fate of the Seleucid Empire. Rome now reigned supreme over the entire Mediterranean, with only Roman allies, Rhodes, and a fading Ptolemaic Egypt, maintaining substantial naval assets. Despite earlier naval victories and the role of the navy in solidifying and expanding the Roman Republic, it remained overshadowed by the land forces. This led to a near-complete disarmament of the Roman navy, leaving vital trade routes and port cities vulnerable to a new threat. By 102 BCE, over 1,000 pirate ships plagued Mediterranean shipping lanes. Coastal towns suffered, with more than 400 of them sacked, and their populations sold as slaves in Roman markets. Even Rome itself, the heart of the Republic, was not spared. Pirates posed a grave threat to essential grain imports, and in 67 BCE, they even raided Ostia's harbor, dangerously close to the capital. In response, the Senate dispatched Pompey the Great in the same year to eradicate the pirate menace. With substantial resources at his disposal, Pompey assembled a formidable fleet and systematically targeted pirate strongholds along the coast. Within a year, the Mediterranean was free of the pirate scourge. Many pirates were pardoned and resettled inland, bolstering Rome's economy. A smaller number were allowed to operate under Roman service, providing the Republic with a steady source of slave labor. Decades after Pompey's successful campaign against pirates, the Roman navy faced new challenges. Instead of external threats, it had to contend with civil wars. In 36 BCE, Agrippa, the admiral in charge of Octavian's naval force, defeated the last pirate fleet, led by Sextus Pompey, son of Pompey the Great. In 31 BCE, the Battle of Actium unfolded between the naval forces of Octavian and Mark Antony. Once again, Agrippa's tactics prevailed, as his smaller warships outmaneuvered and immobilized Antony's large quinquiremes. This battle marked the last major naval confrontation in the Mediterranean and resulted in the fall of Ptolemaic Egypt and the establishment of the Roman Empire. With the Mediterranean under Roman control, Emperor Augustus recognized the navy's importance in safeguarding trade routes and Italy's well-being. He established the Roman imperial navy with two main fleet commands: Classis Praetoria Missinensis at Misenum on the Gulf of Naples, and Classis Praetoria Ravennatis at Ravenna in the northern Adriatic. These fleets were tasked with protecting Italy and its vital trade routes, ensuring the flow of crucial goods like grain. Additional naval bases in Forum Iuli, modern-day Frejus, and Alexandria ensured comprehensive coverage of the Mediterranean by Roman warships. Throughout the imperial era, the navy remained subordinate to the army, providing logistical support, troop transport, and coastal patrols. Interestingly, naval personnel identified as soldiers rather than sailors, a testament to the Navy's integral role in the Roman military. Tombstone inscriptions revealed this, as sailors chose to be remembered as legionaries. While sailors primarily hailed from the lower strata of society, the upper echelons of Roman society filled high-ranking naval posts. 4 centuries after Augustus's imperial reign began, the Roman navy maintained its dominance over the Mediterranean. During this period, the only noteworthy threat came from Gothic raids on Asian Minor's coastal towns in the mid-3 RD century CE. However, the Roman navy faced no significant naval adversaries, and the last major naval battle involved Roman forces alone. The fleets of Emperors Constantine I and Licinius clashed in 324 CE. Yet, by the late 5th century, North Africa fell to the Vandals, and the Western Roman Empire crumbled, replaced by various barbarian successor kingdoms. After Emperor Justinian's brief reconquest of the Western Mediterranean in the 6th century, the remaining Roman Empire shifted its focus to the east, known as the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine navy, based in Constantinople, assumed a pivotal role in defending the state. Dromon war galleys and the enigmatic weapon known as Greek fire were instrumental in protecting not only the empire's vast Mediterranean territories, but also in repelling seaborne assaults on Constantinople itself. The fate of the navy mirrored that of the empire. The rise of maritime republics like Venice and Genoa, coupled with the empire's waning power from the 11th century onward, led to the decline of the imperial navy. In 1204, the Fourth Crusade captured and ransacked Constantinople, dealing a final blow to the remnants of the empire's naval strength. By the mid-14th century, the once mighty Roman navy, which once reigned supreme in the Mediterranean, had dwindled to a mere shadow of its former self. Finally, in 1453, Constantinople succumbed to the Ottoman Turks, marking the end of both the Roman Empire and its navy.